Well, the journey so far has lasted 53 years. I was happy to accompany this journey for roughly 5 years now, and it is hopefully going on and will be exciting. So what have we done, if you say specifically the last 3 years? We have increased our standing, our commitment to security and foreign and security policy. So we have joined this Raisina dialogue with the ORF as one of the key events. We are working with different institutes dealing with China and Chinese studies and the relation to India. So we're trying to support India's foreign policy by bringing expertise in and exchanging views where, let me say, the MEA would not have the time to do so, but maybe they can pick up some of the recommendations of those Indian think tanks. We are supporting them. We see ourselves more in the role of a facilitator. What is the need of the hour? And that one on demand. We try to be more demand driven and not so much driven by what is being offered. Of course, we have as an organization what is in 120 countries active with about 100 foreign offices. We have our expertise. We try to exchange it also within the region, within the world. But mainly we try to react on what is demanded and focus what we are doing on that a bit. So if you ask me what is coming up, of course, a key focal point will be still foreign and security policy, because that is not changing the situation. We all know that. We also promote as a German, we are there to promote also Indo-German relationship. It is good, but there's always space to even make it better. And we also cover our department within the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. That's what CAS means, Konrad Adenauer Foundation. It's named after the first German Chancellor. We try, of course, to bring in the other points, what are on demand. And we have a worldwide strategy to support countries. The key point is supporting democracy, supporting rule of law, supporting freedom. And that finds its different expressions in different countries. So we also look, of course, into economic and energy policy. Sustainability will be one of the keywords, so that is some issue we are looking in. Rule of law, in that thing we are working together with the Indian Supreme Court. And the cooperation is mainly exchanging not only views, but also experience of judges of the Indian Supreme Court and of the German Supreme Court system. We have several specialized ones to have exchange between them, that also the common law system and the codified law system is better understood. And some parts are interesting for the Indian Supreme Court, especially in trade and economics, what is going on the European level. So that is rule of law. We have done that in many years before for the grassroots level, but we are now more on other ones. Of course, social and political change, local self-governments. For many years, we have supported the Panchayat Raj system. But again, we are trying to do that more on the policy level now and not so much on the implementation level, on the grassroots level. And we do training programs for students and all kinds of things, including young journalists. We have a cooperation with the Statesman Print School, and that is mainly our headquarters doing that, but we are kind of supporting it in India. And what else is to be expected depends a little bit on what is happening in the next years, and we try to address that then. But this is the key let me say, elements, the key areas we are active in, and that we break them down to the Indian demand. And in that we work with many NGOs, but also with government, with parliamentarians. As a political foundation, one of our important points is, of course, the political exchange between members of the Indian Parliament, mostly Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, but also from regional parliaments, members of parliament, with their counterparts in Germany and in Europe. So we do both German ones and European members of parliament. I think one of the things is, of course, the Raisina Dialogue. And it is the flagship event of ORF, but we also have supported their new program, what is the Colaba Talks, coming out of Mumbai, more on a regional level. We also have done that and connected now with German ministries, with German mayors and things that we are also rather proud that we can use our connections within Germany, within Europe, to facilitate that for Indian NGOs to get those people as speakers. And we have managed last year, together with ORF, to have 2 sessions of the Raisina Dialogue out of our Berlin office of CAS. And that is together, we did that. This is a new platform to have it around the world at the same time. So it starts in Canberra, it goes on to Delhi, it goes on to Berlin, and then to Washington, so that we have round the world a presentation of the Raisina Dialogue, and our office in Berlin is part of that one, and it's planned for the coming year as well. Okay, of course, the SDGs is nothing new in that way. It has been newly formulated. We have been working in the framework of the predecessor of the MDGs, and even without calling it sustainability, it is something we always had in mind since CAS was founded, because democracy also needs sustainability, and you need to keep it up with continuously informing, continuously having adult education, that democracy is not only about elections. So this is part of our key message, and that's a sustainable message. You need to sustain democracy. Democracy needs Democrats. You need to work on that permanently. And unfortunately, if you look in the world, you have a drift to more authoritarian systems. So it's also, if we look into China, even the EU sees that's the official language now, China as a systemic rival. That is competition of systems. And of course, we like to sustain the democratic system. That's what we're working for. Now, if you look at the German contribution, or especially the German one, we have, of course, also something what the Adenauer Foundation itself is doing worldwide. And in Germany, we have our constitution is called the Basic Law. So we called it the Basic Law of Sustainability, what is necessary. And of course, it is, as you can see, broken down to the different goals. And we, let me say, have not been focused on the goals itself, but we have integrated them in our work. With our network of local NGOs, we're trying to work on a training manual. And that training manual is for trainers themselves. What breaks down let me say, a bit complicated language of the SDGs onto a local level. They're not addressing all goals, but the 5 what are most relevant and what has been picked by the local level: water supply, other things, education. So those SDGs broken down, and they try in this training manual for the trainers to bring it down to a local language that people understand it and can work for it with their abilities and with their drive. Another example is if you take the number 17, that's partnership for the goals. This is where CAS is, I would say, is good, because we're always in recent years worldwide in the ranking of political, not necessarily political, of think tanks in general and of NGOs. We're always ranking among the best worldwide for our networking capacities. And that is why we consciously use these networking capacities to try to bring people together, also on the level of SDGs. I'll give you one practical sample of last year. It lasted over roughly 2 years. The topic is blue economy, very relevant for India. So it started with FICCI looking at it from an economic perspective only, let me say, but that's their task. We are working with the National Maritime Foundation. Of course, the oceans play a role in terms of security. We are working since many years with TERI. TERI is, of course, looking at sustainability of resources. Now we have, let's say, these 3 actors who all were looking at the issue of the blue economy in their own way with their own specification. And we tried, it was not an easy process, but it worked out. We tried to bring those three organizations together to address the topic of blue economy, what is very important for India because more called land and sea mass is covered by this topic of blue economy than the south of India altogether. What we have started, and I was just involved in something this morning, what is not based only limited to India, but for sustainability, we need to address the climate change. I was involved in with the Gateway House, another of our partners, in a working group, or let's call it, it was a task force of looking how Quad could, in a more sustainable way, work together on the economic side, not looking at security or defense, but on the economic side. For example, rare minerals, how can we work together to achieve more sustainability? We were looking this morning, and again with our worldwide network and other partners, into the addressing an idea what came up from several ones to have a climate club. A climate club is something where the members maybe commit themselves more than just what they have done in Glasgow. And you always need a few who are faster than the others. If you have, it tries to be, of course, open, it tries to be inclusive, but if you wait till you have everyone in the boat, it may be too late. So you need a few who are running faster and take the other ones along. Now we are working with different partners who are involved on the economic sector. These are mainly chambers of commerce and industry and similar institutions that would be PhD, as you have mentioned. It is FICCI. It is also the Madras Management Associations and other ones partially. And of course, whatever we do with them, we try to bring in not only the idea of social market economy, what in our point of view helps people much more than dogmatic systems, but combining social elements with a market. But you cannot have a free market only because it leaves people behind. We want to be inclusive. You cannot address poverty by having a Manchester-style free market. You need corrective elements on the labor side, on the social side, on health sector, whatever. Now, I don't want to go into details, but this is one of the points. The other point is, of course, sustainable production. If you look, and consumption, I'll give you a sample where India could change something, personal experience, but I'm always running, don't say against closed doors, but at little understanding. So on the production level, India had in history, of course, it had not too many choices after independence that incorporated some kind of being a little bit backward compared with the rest of the world. So it would need, not in the IT sector, but in many other sectors, it would need technical improvement to be more competitive. Why does India need to be more competitive? Because we have, call it a crisis of supply chains since China and since the COVID appearance. We had the interruption of global supply chains. We need to rethink them. And that means also that India, as a democracy, as the largest democracy, as it's always claimed, of course, should play an important role in this worldwide, call it resetting of supply chains, that democratic countries, in some way or the other, make themselves less dependent on China. My experience in India is always, all day, you have bright lights burning in halls and gangways of hotels for no reason. Air condition on in rooms where nobody's in. That's a lot of waste of energy in a country what is so energy hungry and needs to build more and more coal plants, what is not sustainable to somehow satisfy that demand of energy. But the saving side of energy is not looked into. I ask myself always, why are you guys here burning the lights and everything all day? Yeah, this is, we have to. So they don't even know where the switch is to switch it off. It's something I notice. If I combine many hotels in India together, it could be a contribution to more sustainable consumption on that.